We have more information on the Daytona Road Course, how many laps they're going to be, what aero package and engine package they're going to be using, some additions to the track, and more. But before we get into that important stuff, it's conspiracy theory time. That's right. All right. Qualifying. It's through that random draw and stuff. Well, I'm convinced it's rigged. I'm 53% being serious, 47% joking. I think it's rigged. That's right. Aric Almirola has drawn in the top 5 every single time he's been eligible for the top 5, which is like 11 or 12 times. And the odds of that happening are like, someone did the math a couple of weeks ago. That's before the Texas, Kansas, and New Hampshire race. That's like 0.00005% or something chance of that happening. And it's even lower now. It's probably like 0.0000010 zeros. And for the fourth race in a row, Jimmie Johnson is starting 20th. Fourth race in a row. He could draw from 13th to 24th. He's drawn 20th, 2-0, 4 races in a row. And Alex Bowman, for like the 15th time, has drawn 8th. You're telling me this isn't getting fishy? Bowman draws 8th all the time. Jimmie draws 20th all the time. And Almirola gets the top 5 every single week. Seriously, though, we do got to come up with a new system. My vote is fastest lap from the previous race. We go off that. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the Daytona Road Course. Some news on it that was released today about new chicane being added, the engine package, the aero package, all the fun stuff we love talking about. Yeah, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to look at is the type of package they will be using. So, according to Bob Pockers, as expected, NASCAR will add a chicane for the Daytona Road Course race coming off the oval turn 4. So, if you remember my video, I did that video game, Real Racing 3, where I showed you a lap around the track. And there was a long point from probably around halfway through the backstretch. There's a chicane. And you go all the way from there to the start-finish line, and that game's inaccurate with the speed. It said like 220 or something going into turn 1. Well, realistically, you'd be in the 200s, I think. Going into turn 1, let's say you lose a brake, you blow a tire, that's gonna hurt. Or if you get turned, that's gonna hurt. So they want to figure out a way to kind of reduce the speed to make sure it's a little safer, because that is a really dangerous situation. You're going from 200 miles an hour, breaking down into under 100 miles an hour. That's very dangerous. So they had to figure out a way. So they're going to add a chicane at the exit of turn 4, somewhere in between turn 4 and pit road. They're going to add a chicane. They posted this picture online. I can't really tell on the track, but you can tell it's off turn 4. I'm smart enough to know that. I don't know where exactly the layout I have not seen yet, but that's where it will be. Very smart decision in my opinion. It could create a chaotic finish like we see at the Charlotte Roval in 2018. It's another braking zone, another passing zone that I like to see, and I think it's safer. So I think that's a good call on NASCAR's part. And now on to what we were hoping not to hear. NASCAR will run the 750 horsepower, but with how downforce splitter / spoiler package. Bob meant high downforce, not how. High. I thought he meant low at first because he said how, but it ended up being high. So the high downforce and then the big splitters or spoilers, whatever. Drivers cannot run in multiple events during the weekend. The stages for the truck race are 12, 13, 19, Xfinity 15, 15, 25, Cup race 15, 15, 35. So it'll be a 65-lap Cup race, 40 or 52-lap Xfinity race, and a 44-lap truck race. So there's your lap times, your lap amount of laps we're going to run at the Daytona Road Course, and there's your engine package. NASCAR, what are we doing? We've talked about this before. Look, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of this package. You know I would much prefer more driver skill than anything. And we saw this package run last year. I think it was the exact same thing last year. on the road courses and short tracks where they had the 750 horsepower, but they had the big splitters, the high downforce package that we see run at the 1.5 miles this year, and the 1.5 miles, 2 milers, the intermediate tracks. And we have not seen that on road courses and short tracks this year because of how bad the racing was on it last year. The inability to pass, it was so hard to pass. It was so hard to do anything with those cars because of the air. It created dirty air at Martinsville, people. Like, that should not ever happen. That's just a problem. But obviously, road courses and short tracks are some of NASCAR fans' favorites, and they were just so bad last year. NASCAR said, all right, we got to go back. We got to do the high horsepower, low downforce package. And the racing's been better this year. Martinsville, there weren't a ton of incidents. There weren't a ton of chaotic wrecks or anything, but there was still good racing, side-by-side racing. Same thing for Bristol. Bristol's been one of the best races all year, in my opinion. We saw chaos. We saw some crashes. We saw Chase Elliott and Joey Logano wreck in the last couple laps. Elliott just took out Logano, and it was really good racing. We haven't been to a road course this year, so I can't say on that. But 2018, there were some really good road course races. We saw the Roval, the first ever Roval race was amazing. The Watkins Glen race was pretty good. The Sonoma race, if I remember correctly, it wasn't the greatest thing ever, but it wasn't terrible. And then last year, Sonoma, oh God, it was not good. Watkins Glen could have been better. It still wasn't that good. It would have made a great battle for the lead with Elliott and Truex if the dirty air didn't play a factor. I think Truex would have gotten by Elliott, but I think it would have been a great battle if we didn't have that problem. And the Roval, the only reason the Roval was pretty good is because of the drama between Bubba and Bowman, the playoff cutoff line with Newman missing the chicane, and Elliott somehow coming back from hitting the wall head-on. That made that race interesting and fun, but it wasn't good as the first Roval, so, there's only 2 examples of the Roval, so it wasn't a bad race. It was a good race, but you may be looking at me, you may see this hat and think, you're an Elliott fan, you want this. He won 2 of the 3 races last year, and he was good in the other one until he had like an engine problem or something. Well, if my favorite driver wins the most boring race of ever on a road course, that's not memorable. I'm not going to remember that win in 20 years. If he wins something, I want it to be memorable. I want it to be like the Roval last year. I want him to crash head on into the wall. I don't want him to do this, but I want him to do something memorable. Crash head on into the wall, back up. Go around everyone, not like with the weird fuel strategy, like passing people. That's what we got at the Roval. So that's why I'm hopeful. I'll tell you this, that's why I'm hopeful that this package works at the Daytona Road Course, because we saw at the Roval last year. It was not as bad as Watkins Glen and Sonoma, but it did have its moments, but it also had its good moments. So I think it's really unknown right now. It's really unknown. We got some heavy braking zones, which will create a lot of passing opportunities. But when it comes to the long stretches, the turns where, there's not much braking or just lifting required, there'll be aero problems, I'm sure. But, not a big fan of NASCAR doing that, the 750 with the high downforce and then the big spoilers. We saw what it did last year at Watkins Glen and Sonoma, and I just fear for the worst of that. But also we did see how the Roval, it was a pretty decent race last year. It wasn't the best road course race ever. Heck, it wasn't even the best Roval race, and we've only had 2. But, I have hope, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm glad that they're making it safe by adding a chicane. I think that's a very good decision by NASCAR to add that chicane just for the safety of the drivers. It was going to be really fast going into turn 1. And to reduce that speed a good bit, to add a chicane, I think that's a good idea on NASCAR's part. Once again, just for the safety aspect. If these cars were perfectly safe, nothing bad ever happened, I'd say go for it. Go 210 miles an hour into turn 1. That'll be fine. But as we saw earlier this year, these cars, as safe as they are, they still have their dangers. They still have little tiny issues. I won't call them issues, but there are some spots. If something goes terribly wrong, that 0.001% chance of something going wrong can go wrong, and it does put the drivers at risk. They know the risk they're going into, but still there is a risk, and I think the smaller we can make that chance of someone getting hurt or anything like that, I think the better. So a good call by NASCAR adding that chicane, in my opinion. And then as for the package, I don't like this package. I've never liked this package. The 550 with high horsepower. 750 with high horsepower, I've never liked it. Yeah, but there's your information. Laps, I just told you we're going to have a 65 lap race with 15, 15, 35 on the stages. Trucks and Xfinity, you can go back and look at that. And this is also with no practice. I forgot to say that. There's going to be no practice for this race. Wow. It's going to be chaotic enough going into turn 1 without practice, but I was a little concerned, honestly, for lap 2 if we all made it through lap 1. Going back around the whole oval and then going into turn 1, how that braking would go. But luckily, we got a chicane now. I don't know what the simulators are going to do. I don't know how much that'll help, but hopefully it helps them a bit. So, yeah, that's what I got today. Later this week. Tomorrow's Friday. Might do a live stream tomorrow. Nothing. New Hampshire preview Saturday, I guess, and then Sunday race recap, and then we'll do a playoff update Monday. Tuesday through Friday Tuesday through Thursday, we got doubleheader next week, and I forgot about that. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it this far, make sure to leave a like, hit the like button like right now, and also hit the subscribe button right now. Thanks.